Happy Friday! It's actually Monday, but I'm recording this early, so forgive me. Just trying to get ahead this week. I'm actually in the middle of writing a few songs. It's always an exciting time. It ebbs and flows for me. I have nothing on the docket or no creative inklings, and then I have a ton of creative inklings. And so I'm actually working through a song. I was working on it yesterday. I have another song I'm working through, and then yesterday another verse from scripture, which had been on my mind for a while, and I love the verse. I just, on my walk, started writing down some lyrics. So I'm kind of in the middle of a creative whirlwind. It's been a good day, although it was not such a good night. I had a terrible dream. One of those dreams that you wake up and it kind of like shades the rest of your day. Or at least your morning, where you're like, yeah, I am so glad that was not reality, because wow. It was kind of like one of those tour nightmares that I've had, very similar to that. Anyway, thankfully, it's not reality. I had my donuts this morning, so that was good, a bright spot in my day. And we have been encouraged. It is Monday for me, but last week, I think it was on Saturday, saw another a donation, a very generous donation come in for our sprinkle campaign. So that's always encouraging to my heart, to see the Lord sprinkle His blessings on our campaign. And so this is just another friendly weekly reminder that we have our sprinkle campaign going on through December. We are hoping, Lord willing, to bring in $35,000 by December 31st. It's a lot of money. It could buy a car, come to think of it. That's not what we're planning on spending it on. But you know all that. This is just your friendly reminder. Where was I going with that? Oh yes, it's time for the second installment of Memory Lane. My brain is, kind of been thinking through what I could share, and some of them are, yes, they're funny tour memories or whatever. This one that struck me, I don't know if it's this morning or yesterday, I'm like, you know what, I should share that. That was a cool thing God did. And I just have to share. I was trying, even before I started recording this video, to figure out which year this happened. Our years just totally blur. Am I the only one? Ever since, I don't know, 2020, or just the fact that I'm getting older, your years just kind of, a lot of times they look the same. Your days look the same, your weeks look the same in a sense. Life has a routine to it, and so it's hard to pinpoint exactly when these things happen. So to the best of my recollection, without looking in my archives, which I could, I didn't. I think this happened in 2022. And in 2023, I'm sorry, at the end of 2022, as I recall, would have been our first big end of year campaign push that we had. We didn't call it a sprinkle campaign. That was the second year that we had done these ambitious end of the year campaigns. That one was kind of like a lift-off campaign. We wanted to get enough money to lift off on the endeavors we had set for 2023. But prior to that, as I recall, in the middle of the year, we had a project that we wanted to do. It was going to take place in Greenville, and it did take place in Greenville, South Carolina. And we were going to do a video project, and then also record some songs at that time on the BJU campus in their recording studio. So all that to say, when we started planning toward it, it was unplanned. It was not in our budget for that year. It was like, we are ready to do this, and we have some people in place, and we have the songs ready to do this, and it just seemed like a very fitting time to do this, but we did not have it in the budget. And so at that time, we did what seemed like a big campaign to me at the time, but we were hoping to raise $6,000 for this particular project that just kind of came out of nowhere. And so I'm not even sure how I went about it, but I sent out an email, and I'm not sure that I reached out to anybody personally, but regardless, we had started this campaign, and at the time I wasn't used to doing that. I wasn't really used to just putting the ask out for money, but I did. And I just remember, I don't know how many weeks it had been since I had started that campaign, but at this particular time I was on a tour. I think it was like July or something, June or July. And I don't know why, it just kind of hit me during tour just the weight of that just really fell on me. And I just remember, you know how some things in life, they carry with it so much weight, emotional weight, that's what etches it into your memory for a long time. And that's why I remember this so well. But I remember I was in the hotel bed. For some reason, I did not sleep well that night. That was very uncommon for me. In fact, it usually is pretty uncommon for me not to sleep well. I usually sleep very well unless there is just something very heavy on my heart. And so I remember waking up that night. I don't know if I had to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. It's probably what I did. And I crawled back in bed, and I was feeling it. I don't know why. I was just like, man, we need to raise this money because this project needs to happen. Everything is in place, and we just frankly really need this money. And I don't know if you're like this at all. This has happened to me a couple times in my life where God will just bring a verse so clearly to my mind. Not necessarily a verse I had been thinking of recently. And this is one of those cases, as far as I can remember. He brought to mind the verse in Galatians 6. Let's see, I have it open in my Bible here. 6:9, Galatians 6:9. And it was just like he was speaking out loud to me. It was not audible, but it was, for all practical purposes, it was audible in my mind. And I remember the phrase he impressed so deeply on me. This is the verse that says, "And let us not grow weary in doing good, for in due season you will reap." And I remember that so vividly. It was almost like, Heather, calm down. In due season, you will reap. And it was so clear to me. It was like, why? I don't know. I hope this happens to you at points in your life. I sometimes wonder, I'm like, what happens to people who don't know God? What thought comes to them that is so profound and carries with it such weight, a weight of truth that really actually carries them through? I don't know. I don't think it happens. And if a thought comes to them that's not Bible truth, it's not an anchor that they want to depend on. Anyway, that thought came to me at that time, and I must have just kind of rested in it in my spirit and trusted that God gave me that verse to calm me. I remember going back to sleep, and it wasn't but the next day on tour. I remember the church we were at. I remember, I'm trying to think all the details. A church had called me and left a message and wanted me to call, a pastor had called me and wanted me to call him back about some good news he had to share with me or something like that. And so at this particular church on tour, I called him back, and he said to me, "Our church wants to give you $5,000. Guys, I was blown away. I was just like, this is God's answer to that verse he gave me the night before. And it was such a clear connection to me. And $5,000 to that church is a chunk of change. To our most recent ambitious giving campaigns, it is a large amount of money. But we've raised a large amount of money. But back then, that was God's provision, and it was profound. And it was, I love to share that story because it was how God connected His Word and how He calmed my heart to this particular situation, and then provided in a very clear and abundant way. And I can't remember where the other $1,000 came in, but I do recall they must have come in because we went forward with that project. And that was just such a neat thing in my life. And God has done that on other occasions too, where I was just kind of really in the depths and in the throes of emotion. And He brought a verse at just the time that I needed it. So let me read that verse again. "And let us not grow weary while doing good, for in due season we shall reap, if we do not lose heart." So I hope that encourages you today. It's encouraging for me to just reminisce on this memory and how God provided in an abundant way back then, and how he continues to provide. Hey, check out the links with this video. We're still, again, looking to the Lord to provide for our ambitious end of the year campaign, providing everything that we need through people like you. And hey, this story is about a church that provided for our ministry. And so perhaps your church would have, I know there are churches that actually support music ministries. We're a nonprofit. And so if that happens to be your church, or maybe you're the one who could help put that thought into your pastor's mind and the leadership in your church, and see if maybe your church couldn't donate to our ministry this year. That would be a great blessing. All right, we're past 10 minutes here. Have a wonderful week, and I'll be thinking about the next memory to share for the next week. All right, take care.